Welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. Trump back on Capitol Hill for the first time since J6. Democrats simply in disbelief. It is almost impossible to imagine, but the former president today is the strongest he has ever been politically. Who'd have thunk it? Trump meeting with Republicans in the House as well as a large group of Republican senators, consolidating his support. It appears he has the entire party behind him. It was something to see today. Trump speaking briefly to the press. Take a look.
We're going to bring back common sense to government. We're going to have strong borders, and we're going to have people come into our country, but they're going to come in legally. They're not going to pour in from prisons all over South America and all over the world. And it's not just South America, by the way. It's all over the world. And we're not going to have them pour in from mental institutions, which is where they're coming from, large numbers, and large numbers are terrorists. And we're not going to have this.
Barrasso, Marshall, J.D. Vance there, a number of others. Trump's messaging is resonating as Americans are just simply shocked at what our current White House is capable of inflicting on its own constituents. People are desperate for that kind of common sense. Trump mentioned terrorists coming across the border and all the criminal gangs that are now operating inside of the United States. Over at ABC, the news is as fake as ever. Take a listen to the host here, Kira Phillips, after Trump ended his speech.
The former president there for the first time on the Hill since the deadly insurrection, meeting with GOP lawmakers. We probably should fact check first what he said about those coming across the border. He says this every time about making the border safer. Of course, he wants to do that, but he always throws out a very general statement about all the terrorists coming across the border, the prisoners coming across the border and committing all this crime here in our country, which is simply not true.
Simply not true. Kira, just for you, some reporting from your own network, by the way, reporting on the 8 men with ties to ISIS who were just detained in 3 American cities this week. All came across the southern border. Simply not true, she says. Also from ABC, reporting gang members and child rapists arrested crossing into our country. Not to mention all these new gangs we now have in the United States, like Tren de Aragua, which fully is operational inside cities like New York. They fact-check true things from Trump as false. They don't fact-check anything about Biden. Standard fare from the clown media that we have. Pelosi today enraged at Trump's visit to Capitol Hill, spewing the same tired fear tactics. Donald Trump comes to Capitol Hill today with the same mission of dismantling our democracy. But make no mistake, Trump has already cemented his legacy of shame in our hallowed halls. I guess the video behind me is what shame looks like. His best poll numbers ever, consolidating the entire party around him. Okay, Nancy. They are flailing to sell Americans a very distorted story and save their suicidal agenda for your country. That's all it is. The Biden campaign, aware they can no longer sell our vegetable president or his twisted plans, is now fully focused on fear. Check out the new ad from the Biden campaign.
On January 6th, Donald Trump lit a fire in this country.
140 officers were injured. The siege lasted for 7 hours.
There is nothing more sacred than our democracy, but Donald Trump's ready to burn it all down.
Yeah. Notice they only list injuries in the ad, by the way. What happened to all the cops that were murdered they screamed about in 2021? Oh, that's right. We now know that nobody was murdered except an unarmed woman, by the way. Trump at the Capitol has them trembling. They're going to do anything. And a hearing today at the Capitol investigated just how far the American left is willing to go to stop him. Jim Jordan's Judiciary Committee diving into the Alvin Bragg Trump conviction in New York and the obvious lawfare that led to the indictment. Trump convicted on 34 felonies for bookkeeping violations. Shifty Schiff needed some attention today, so he felt the need to say felony, the word, 34 times. Here's some of that.
I want to begin by quoting the jury in the Manhattan hush money payment trial. Guilty, 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 guilty.
He has his real serious face on. Little Adam Schiff, too dumb to realize he was actually playing right into Jim Jordan's hands with that little moment seeking all that attention, because what he fails to realize is exactly what Republicans were attempting to point out today, which is the truth, that in Alvin Bragg's New York, nobody gets charged with 34 counts of felonies.
First thing he did, the day one memo. 10-page policy memo to his staff instituting progressive, soft on crime, anti-victim policies. Felony armed robbery charges get reduced to misdemeanors. He instructed his staff, except for homicides, not to seek prison sentences for individuals.
Bragg's mandate no felonies except for homicides, very serious crimes like homicides. And also, of course, whatever the hell you can find on Donald Trump. That was the Bragg mandate when he came in. Under Bragg, 60% of felony cases downgraded, 834 felonies reduced to misdemeanors, and just once, a misdemeanor that turned into 34 felony counts. Just that one right there. Alvin Bragg has declined to prosecute 14% of all the arrests made by the NYPD. In 2022, a career criminal named William Rowland threatened a shop owner with a knife, put it right to him, charged with a misdemeanor by Alvin Bragg. Bragg also gave a sweetheart plea deal to a young man who raped a teenaged relative of his own. And emboldened by Bragg's leniency, that young man was arrested again for sex charges the very next month. Yes, it appears Alvin Bragg wants nobody in prison except those who threaten the power of his political party, obviously. Today, one of the heads of the Federal Election Commission told Congress that Alvin Bragg's move to charge Trump and what was done here in New York was a complete abuse of power.
The Federal Election Campaign Act serves as the bedrock for regulating money in our elections. It delineates the authorities responsible for enforcing these rules, vesting exclusive jurisdiction in the Federal Election Commission and the Department of Justice. District Attorney Alvin Bragg's decision to pursue charges against former President Trump for alleged violations of federal campaign finance laws marks a significant deviation from this established legal framework. By doing so, Bragg has effectively usurped the jurisdiction that this Congress has explicitly reserved for federal authorities.
Yeah, but there's nothing political about what happened in New York.